If your life is affected by multiple sclerosis or any other neurological condition, then this channel is for you. So please consider subscribing to be kept up to date with future videos. My name's Liam, and in 2018, I was diagnosed with relapse and remitting MS. In this video, I want to talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. There are lots of things that multiple sclerosis affects, and unfortunately, sex is one of them. Plenty of things that we have to deal with, and this is just the cherry on top of the cake. But yeah, sex is affected in lots of different ways by multiple sclerosis. I'm going to cover off a few of those in this video. Firstly, I think one of the things to factor in is the fact that you have a critical illness, you have a condition, and you know, it's not particularly a sexy condition. So I know that mentally it can affect me in that way that, you know, I don't really feel quite as manly or as sexy as I once did because, you know, I have something that affects that, or that affects me mentally. Therefore, my libido or my sex drive can be affected because I don't particularly feel sexy, and I try to avoid some of the issues that can come as part of MS. You'd like to think that, you know, I'm a relatively young, happening young man. I'm 33, and I like to think that most other 33-year-olds, you know, have a very active sex life, I imagine, whether it's with their partner or if they're single, you know, they're out and on the pull, as you would say. So perhaps you would expect that someone my age, you know, has quite a healthy sex life, but, you know, under that mask, under the MS that I have, you know, I'm not in a position, not getting into positions, but I'm not like, yeah, I don't particularly have the same appetite that I once would, and I don't have the appetite that I think people my age tend to have. But having MS isn't the only sort of factor that mentally affects you. I mean, yes, the likelihood of having a high libido when you have MS is very unlikely. There are other things that can be factored in. From a male perspective, you know, one of the big things is erectile dysfunction. Something that, unfortunately, yeah, it's something that I have to endure when I want to be in the mood as such. But I think it's getting easier and easier to get hold of things that can kind of mitigate that, and it takes that stress away. Because for a bloke, I mean, ladies, I don't know how knowledgeable you are on how it affects blokes, but yeah, it's expected that you're going to be able to do that. You're expected to be able to perform, and sometimes completely out of your control, your body doesn't want to support you on this venture. So yeah, that is another sort of another burden to bear, because, you know, you might be really raring to go, but, you know, mentally, but physically your body's perhaps not in the same space. But yeah, there are lots of over the shelf or off the shelf, over the counter pharmaceuticals that you can get that kind of nip that in the bud, take away that stress, and make the whole experience easier. So if you are a bloke and you are suffering in this way, one of the best things I ever did was go to the doctors and just confirm that and get some help with that. And like I said, now I can do that without going to the doctors. So yeah, I want to be open from my perspective. So you know, I'll tell you the things that I struggle with. For ladies, again, I'm not as experienced in completely how it affects women when it comes to sex. But I understand that it can affect sensitivity, which again, it can with males as well. But with women, yeah, it can feel perhaps less pleasurable. And sometimes it can go completely the way where it's, well, not completely the way, but completely that way where actually it's really uncomfortable and not an enjoyable experience. So if you're watching this as a man or a woman or anything in between, and you have a female partner or someone identifies as female, I don't know how many boxes to cover off there, but you know what I mean? You know, and they're struggling mentally to kind of come to terms with things like that. And don't be disheartened if they're not in the mood. Don't be disheartened if they're not enjoying it, because it's not down to you. It's down to their condition. It's down to their experience. And one of the other things I think that can factor into that as well is different drugs and things that you do take as part of your MS. I know that if I do find myself in the mood, and perhaps I do have some pharmaceutical support to get me to where I want to be, unfortunately, some of the other tablets I take for depression and things like that can result in, how to put it delicately, is that you're on the train, but you don't quite reach your destination. Something that I think women are perhaps a bit more experienced with. I know a lot of blokes perhaps don't do their due diligence. They don't put in the effort to get their female counterpart to the destination they're trying to get to. But But yeah, not being able to finish, I suppose, would be the more blunt way of putting it. And yeah, that's something else that affects me and affects a lot of other people. So these are very normal experiences when it comes to MS. I think sex is important. It's important for mental health and confidence. So if you're finding that the drugs that you're taking are affecting your sexual appetite, your sexual performance, or your sexual experience, then maybe it is worth speaking to your GP, speaking to your nurse, your neurologist, to see if there is a similar or different drug that you could take that will have the similar effect for your depression or whatever it might be, but also allow you to enjoy life and enjoy sex, because that's something that we all should be able to do. And again, with MS, you obviously have, a lot of people will have depression, hence why they take things like antidepressants, which can affect sexual performance. But also, if you are suffering with depression, if you are suffering with the condition, likelihood is you're not going to have that same sexual appetite. So again, if you're coming here because you have MS and you are finding you have struggles when it comes to sexual performance, I would recommend speaking to someone, preferably your GP or part of your care team, because there may be changes to your your MS plan, or there may be different things that you can try as part of your treatment that result in a happier sex life. So some things that I need to look at as well. But if you are looking for answers, then yeah, speaking to someone about it. Don't bury your head in the sand. Don't hide from the fact, because it will only add to the stress and the experience being even less desirable, less pleasurable. Ladies, I don't know how open you are at discussing this, but if there's any other experiences that perhaps you found that someone else might find in the comments useful, let us know, drop us a comment, because yeah, it's always appreciated. And I think we've seen some great comments coming through recently, people sharing their experiences of MS, and I know other people are finding that useful. So yeah, please may that continue. And yeah, if you're a bloke like myself who is finding themselves in a similar position, then yeah, speaking to your GP, speaking to your team to try and make some changes to get you to enjoy sex, enjoy life, because it is really an important part of life. So yeah, if you've got anything to share in terms of your experience, or any recommendations or things you found have really helped, or things that you would recommend avoiding because of this reason, yeah, do let us know in the comments, because I think yeah, everyone here is coming together to share and to learn, so it's always really appreciated. So yeah, if you found this video useful or helpful or supportive in any way, do hit that like button. Yeah, drop us a comment with your experiences, and yeah, and do join our gang. Subscribe if you haven't already, because yeah, we are starting to see our subscribers grow. We're building a bit of a community here on around MS, so we're not alone. We can do this together, and I appreciate everyone who's taking the time to watch the video. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.